Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hi everybody, it's Melissa and welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I want to start with something that happens in almost every family, even the really thoughtful ones. You see your daughter struggling or hesitating or getting frustrated, and your instinct kicks in immediately. You want to help. You want to encourage her. You want to say the right thing. So you say something like, "You've got this. Just try harder. You know how to do this. Don't worry so much." And instead of helping, something shifts. Her shoulders get tense. Her answers get shorter. She pulls away just a little, and you're left thinking, what did I say wrong? I was trying to help. Before we go any further, I want to say this clearly. If you've said any of those things, you didn't mess anything up. Believe me, I am a super encourager. I love encouraging. I love saying positive things. I mean, that's what Girls Positivity Club is all about, is lifting others up, especially girls, lifting girls up, lifting other women up. And these phrases are what loving, engaged parents reach for. They come from care, from wanting to protect her, from wanting to see her feel confident again. So this episode isn't about what you did wrong, because you didn't. You were trying to do something right. It's about why encouragement sometimes lands for girls as pressure and what actually helps in those everyday moments when emotions are already running high. Because here's what makes this so tricky. Encouragement should help, and sometimes it does. But sometimes, especially with thoughtful, sensitive, or self-critical girls, encouragement can accidentally make things harder. And if you've ever walked away from a moment wondering why your support didn't land the way you'd hoped, you're not alone. Here's something that parents don't get told very often. Encouragement isn't always received as support. And that doesn't mean that we have to walk on eggshells or we should overthink like what kind of encouragement we should give and what we shouldn't and all of that and like make you paranoid about it. It is to realize that when this does happen, it means that it's being received as expectation or urgency or evaluation. And especially for girls who are thoughtful or hard on themselves or emotionally aware, trying very hard to do things right. When a girl is already struggling internally, encouragement that jumps too quickly to confidence can feel like you shouldn't feel this way. You should already be able to do this. And that's not our intention at all. And when this happens, her nervous system doesn't open, it protects. That's when you see shutting down, snapping, withdrawing, sudden tears, not because you did something wrong, but because the moment needed connection before motivation. And so I see this all the time around homework. A girl is sitting at the table or wherever she does homework and she keeps erasing or she keeps deleting what she wrote if it's digital. She sighs. She stares at the paper or the computer, the whatever she's using. And finally she says, "I don't get it." Her parent says kindly, "You do get it. You're smart. Just focus." And suddenly, tears. not because of the math or the writing or whatever the assignment was, but because what she heard was, why can't I do this faster? Why is this so hard for me? And that is not our intention at all when we say that. What she needed in that moment wasn't confidence. She needed containment. And we don't always know when this is going to happen or when she needs this because they don't always communicate it with us. So I'm telling you these things so that you can have an idea of what you could say if it ever happens. In this example with the homework, she needed to feel like the struggle itself was allowed. And that's the difference that we're going to talk about today, is when we are holding space for them, when the encouragement doesn't land the way we had hoped. And so this is what helps instead and why. So again, if you've ever said these things, I say them all, and I've said them all. If it doesn't land the way you expect, here's what you can do. So number one, when you say you've got this and it feels like too much for her, you've got this sounds supportive, but when a girl is overwhelmed, it can often feel like I'm supposed to already be able to do this. And here's what many girls are thinking and almost never say out loud. If I really had this, I wouldn't feel this shaky. If I mess this up now, everyone will see that I don't actually have it. Encouragement can accidentally turn into a spotlight. And when a girl feels watched, she doesn't take risks. She protects herself. And that moment usually isn't dramatic. It's something small. You're standing in the kitchen. Your daughter's holding her paper, her computer, her iPad, whatever it is. She's looking at it, not moving. You say casually, "You've got this." She nods, but her body tightens. Her shoulders come up just a bit. She presses the pencil harder, or she types and erases harder. Like you can tell when they tap harder or they type harder. And what helps more is saying, this part is hard and you're allowed to take your time. For younger girls, how this can sound is, this is tricky. Let's slow it down. For that older elementary or that tween age, you can say, it makes sense. This is frustrating. For teens, you can say, you don't have to have it figured out yet. And you're not, when you say any of these things, you're not lowering expectations. You're giving her nervous system room to settle. I worked with a girl who froze every time she heard, "You've got this." And when she worked with me or another adult who said, "You don't have to rush," she exhaled and started. Because when she heard, "You've got this," she felt pressure. She felt like she had to get it right away. She felt like she didn't have any extra time. And that was not what we were saying at all. We were just giving some encouragement. But us saying, "You don't have to rush," helped her pause and helped her feel like the pressure had been lifted. And she took the encouragement a lot better. The second one is when we say, "Just try harder," but it makes her shut down. So "just try harder" often lands as you're not doing enough. And this is not what you mean at all. And this has even hit me before as an adult. It's like, I am trying harder. I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm trying everything I can think of. And especially when you're in it and you're already frustrated, or your daughter's in it and she's already frustrated, saying "just try harder." And it doesn't mean that you're saying it in a negative way. It's just like, oh, just keep trying, just try harder, is not what you mean. This usually happens late in the day. In my experience, this is usually late in the day when everyone's tired and she's sitting there and she's either not starting or she's stuck. And you're watching the clock and it's getting later and later and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, we're all going to be on low sleep tomorrow if we don't get this. And so it starts to feel a little bit like pressure. And you can feel your own patience thinning. Maybe you've given some help, maybe you've given a lot of examples, and it's just not clicking. And you want momentum. So you say, "Just try harder." But when a parent I worked with paused instead and asked her daughter, what part feels hardest right now? Everything changed. Her daughter didn't get defensive. She didn't shut down. She said very quietly, I don't know how to start this problem. And it wasn't, I don't want to. It wasn't, I don't care. She was stuck, not giving up or not being lazy. And once that was named, the resistance disappeared. And it was a coming together. Asking this question isn't stepping back, it's stepping beside her. So instead of, if you've ever said just try harder or keep trying, and that's not working, you can say what part feels hardest now and see what a difference that makes. The third one is when don't worry makes her worry more. And I've experienced this one so many times because, it's easy for people to say, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry. And you're like, well, if it were that easy, no one would ever worry ever. Everyone would just say, don't worry, and then it would just disappear. But when people say that, they're not doing it to discourage your daughter or to discourage you or, to be mean in any way. It's like they're doing it from a place of love. So they're wanting to give you calm, but calm can't be handed over. It has to be built. And so this often shows up again at night. When the lights are low, and this could be like a bedtime, she's under the covers. And for me anyway, as a parent, these are always when they want to have the deepest conversations, when it's almost bedtime. And I've always held space for it because, yes, I'm sure there have been times when it has been a stalling technique, but you can tell the difference. And so when she's under the covers and she suddenly says, what if I mess up tomorrow? And there's a project coming up, or there's something going on with friendship, or whatever the case may be. And maybe you don't even know the context. You're like, mess up. I didn't even know anything was going on tomorrow. You could say, instead of, don't worry, it'll be fine, good night, and leave. You could just help her relax when she goes quiet. And then say something different. Instead of just saying, don't worry, you'll be fine again, say, I can see why you're worried. Do you want to talk it through? Or do you want to take a break first? So this would be after she maybe tells you what it is, or you could do kind of like a bridge where if you have no idea what she's even talking about, you can say, tell me more. What is making you feel like something's not going to go well tomorrow? And then you can say, I can see why you're worried. Do you want to talk it through? So maybe she just needs to process through some things and get a little bit of reassurance. And this is where the encouragement can come in a really authentic way, instead of just saying like a blanket statement, like, oh, it'll be fine. Or taking a break and coming back to it in the morning if this is a bedtime. And I know that doesn't always happen at bedtime, but it seems like everything, I don't know about you, but everything for me as a parent, all the deep talks have happened, not all of them, I guess a lot of them have happened at bedtime. And I think it's because we're relaxed, we're just thinking about things, and our mind is just kind of going. And so that one sentence saying, I can see you're worried. Do you want to talk it through or take a break first? Validates her feelings, gives her choice, and it lowers the intensity. Because there was a girl one time who told me, a tween actually, when people say don't worry, I feel like I'm worrying wrong. And I felt that too. It's like you're like, am I not supposed to be worried about this, or am I doing something wrong? And validation doesn't make worrying bigger. So saying, do you want to talk it through? It doesn't make it bigger, but it gives it some place to land rather than just swirling around in her head. And we call that in Girls Positivity Club the tornado of worry, or the tornado of, negativity, or whatever it is. And so when you say, don't worry, it almost amplifies it. And so you can name it and say, I can see you're worried. Do you want to talk it through or take a break first? Just allows her to have that space to land. And it also puts it in her shoes where she can decide what she needs in that moment. And sometimes it is sleep and then to revisit it tomorrow. And sometimes it is to talk it out right then, just to get it out of her head so that she doesn't think about it while she's laying there trying to go to sleep. And so the next one is when she says it's fine and you know it's not. The moment happens everywhere. And I think especially in that older girl to teenage, this especially can happen. You ask how her day was, and this can happen at younger ages too, but typically it can be the older ages. And she says, fine. How was your day? Fine. One word, flat tone, eyes out the window or eyes away from you. You can feel it. There's something more there. And you can tell the difference between a fine when it's just like a fine and it's like a happy, that sounded kind of scary, but like, oh, it was fine. And that's different than fine in tone. And you know your daughter, the girls in your life best. But when it's that flat tone and they're looking away, or you can just feel there's something more there, the instinct is to push right there in that moment. And believe me, this is the biggest mistake I've made over and over again. And I just keep trying over, but it's to ask again right then and to dig. But often the safest response, I would say 10 times out of 10, the safest response is just to simply say, okay, I'm here if you want to talk later, and to let it go. I've watched girls come back hours later or even the next day because they trusted the door to stay open. That's not disengagement. That's relationship. And believe me, it is the very hardest thing to do because it starts to eat at you and you're like, what could it be? And then you can kind of go into a worry spiral or something like that. And you just have to tell yourself, she will come to me when she's ready. And I'm just going to keep showing up and I'm just going to keep saying, I'm here if you want to talk later. And sometimes it can be days down the road. Sometimes she never comes back and that's okay. That means that she's worked through it herself. And that's actually a healthy response. Both are good, like to talk it through, to ask for help, or to work it out. And they don't always need us to work it out with them. So just to give that space is one of the most powerful things you can do. So here is why these moments matter long term and these things to say. All of these moments teach your daughter that her feelings are allowed, that she doesn't have to perform confidence all the time. She doesn't always have to act confident about every single thing, and that support doesn't disappear when things get messy. That's what builds real confidence. Not constant encouragement, but consistent safety. And here's what I want to leave you with. A lot of the moments that actually build confidence don't look like progress in real time. They look like a pause. They look like a breath. They look like a girl staying in the room even when something feels hard. When you respond with understanding instead of urgency, when you choose connection over correction, when you're teaching your daughter something she'll carry with her long after this moment passes. You're teaching her that she doesn't have to perform confidence to be worthy of support. And that's what makes it safer for confidence to grow. So if encouragement has ever backfired in your house, please hear this. You weren't wrong for trying. Keep encouraging. But in these cases, you just needed a different tool for that moment. And the fact that you're paying attention to how your words land, that already tells me about the kind of parent that you are. You're doing better than you think. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.